If you want to learn all the pros and cons that you need to consider before you jump into a property that you want to renovate, flip or refinance after, then stay tuned, because that's what I'm going to discuss, share with you all the pros and cons that may help you in your journey. So stay tuned. Hello everyone, if you're new here, my name is Abbas Pardhan. I'm a property investor and I'm an owner of an estate agency called 10x Rising. On this channel, I share with you the insight of what we go through on a day-to-day basis that may help you on your property journey. If you've got any questions, please put them in the comment section below. Please smash the like button if you enjoyed the content, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you do not miss the next video. So if you're currently looking at a property that you want to add value to, you want to renovate and then flip it on after, I must tell you something, that it is definitely very lucrative if you do it right. You can literally turn this into a business. Buy one property, refinance, pull all your funds out. Buy the second property, refurbish, refinance, pull all your funds out. Move on third, fourth, fifth. I literally know people that own streets worth properties that literally all in their own name. They've done that with this specific strategy. So if you do it right, you can do very well in this. The first thing is that the first advantage of doing this kind of strategy is that you will get below market value properties. The price of the property will reflect the condition the property is already in. Good example is, if you're familiar with Liverpool, I've been going there quite a lot recently. There's Kensington Street there. On Kensington Street, which is L7, we were offered an 8-bedroom ensuite property. 8-bedroom all ensuite with a HMO license and all students in there. They wanted £400,000 for it. It was a very good property. However, something to consider. Same street again, you had another 8-bedroom property with such a large basement with enough height that you can perhaps even get planning permission and convert that into many more rooms, or even 3 or 4 studio flats in there. And that was only selling at £260,000. Big difference, isn't it? How much would it have costed us to convert the 8 bedrooms into en-suites? What, 50 grand? 60,000? You get your comparables done with your builders. Say it costed you 50,000. You bought it for 260. That's 310,000 pounds. 310 or 400. Same size, same property, same location, same everything. So yes, you will get a below market value deal if you're doing this strategy, because the property price will be reflected on its condition. Now just remember, the most profit that you're making is when you're paying a lower price for the property, because it's not matching what the street value is for the property. So in that area, say the property value is about 400, but because it's so run down that you will get it for about 260. So you want to make sure you get your pricing right, because the second best thing there is about this is that you can add significant value to the property and make so much for yourself that you don't just pull your money out, but you're making a profit on top of it, and you still own the property. You still own the goddamn property that you can rent out, which is amazing, because then you can jump over to the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, and you're making profit on it, and you're owning a free property with none of your own money stuck in the deal. So that's amazing, isn't it? Now, you want to be very careful that the price you get into is not wrong. You're not going to be losing at the end. So you want to get your calculations right, and you want to understand the market, where the ceiling is, what you can achieve for it, and what kind of material you're going to put in there. Now, it's been estimated that putting a kitchen worth about 10 grand is going to add value of up to 20 to 30,000 pounds on your property. Similarly, a loft conversion that may cost you about 30 to 35,000 pounds will add value of up to 100,000 pounds on your property. Of course, depending on where the property is located. Now, of course, one thing you need to be very wary of is that you do not want to go out, spend money on, say, a kitchen unit of up to 10,000 pounds, where the value add will not be more than 10,000 pounds. So what are you doing really? You want to add value. You want to put a kitchen unit of maybe 2,000 pounds if the value add is going to be 10 grand. So you want to factor that in, is that not that you're spending unnecessarily and having your money stuck in the deal at the end of it. But yes, there is very good high potential value add that you can do in this, make profit and still own the property at the end. The third thing is that the property does not have to be super run down for you to make profit out of it. If you're new to this especially, you do not want to dive so deep into it and burn your fingers not knowing what you're doing. Even properties that slightly need renovation, you can even add value to that and still make profit or pull out some of your funds, if not all. Just repainting, redecorating the property can add value to it as well, and where you can pull out some funds. Whether that's just paint peeling off the property, or whether that's the windows squeaking, or whether that's door latches that are not working that you have to repair. Whether that's mold in the bathrooms, or whether that's broken tiles that you need to repair that as well. The taps that don't work, that are constantly dripping, or the floors that you walk on are being squeaky, or when you open the doors and close, or when you open and close the doors, they're being squeaky, or the window is broken, or whether the ceiling has cracks, or just generally the property is not looking up to date. Maybe the paint is so old dated, maybe marks everywhere. Maybe the decoration of that is not done nicely, that you've got red carpets and blue walls. So all these small little things that you can do, very easy to do, but can add value to your property, where you can pull out some of your funds once you've done that. Now let's move over to the cons, the disadvantages, or things that can burn you in this industry. The first thing is that you could possibly run out of budget. I'll give you a funny example. We recently just acquired a property. There was refurb work required into getting this property up and ready to be rented to working professionals. Now, of course, we knew that this property needs a lot of work. So we sent it to one of the builders before we completed on it. That builder gave us a quotation of £120,000. We were quite happy, did the figures, it stacked up. We also looked at the worst case scenario, is that what if this guy lets us down? What if I sent it to my kitchen manufacturer, my bathroom fitter supplier, my gas engineer, my electrician, put my own team together, hired a project manager, and managed the project myself? What would that cost me like? We looked at that figure, we knew it wasn't too far off £120,000. So we went for it. So when we bought the property, we went back to the same builder and said, hey, do you remember the quote you gave me of 120 grand? I'm ready. We just acquired the property now. Let's get onto it. Let's get the bills of quantity. Look at how much you're charging for the material, the labor, and let's see if we can get this over the line. The guy goes like, hey, I'm sorry, prices have gone up. If you want to get this done now, it's going to cost you £218,000 plus VAT. Whew. From 120 to 218. Where's the cream? Basically, we're going to do the project for free for all this work and then not get any cream out of it. So what's the point? I might as well go buy an up and running income generating property and have all my money stuck in the deal, right? So I was kind of stunned with that, but luckily I had my backup. But before I went into that, I decided to speak to some more builders, and luckily we found another builder that gave us a quote of 141,000 plus VAT. We did our due diligences, we were happy to proceed. We're in that process now. However, you always want to keep a 20% budget allocated towards it if something goes wrong. And you want to remember that you do not want to spend money on anything that will not add value. Why put in a 10 grand kitchen if it's a very low end market, if the whole property is worth only £80,000 or £90,000? If you're going to spend 150 on it, doesn't mean the value of the property is going to touch 150. So you want to factor these things in. That what market are you targeting? What's the add value like? If you're in city centre in London, then yeah, go all out, because perhaps the rent on it might just be 10 grand a month, right? So you want to see where you are, how much your property is going to be valued at. Is it going to be valued at 500k to £1 million, or is it just 80,000-90,000 pounds? Factor these things out, just common sense. So if you've got a property that you know the end value is about 80-90, then don't spend 7 grand on a kitchen. Allocate maybe 1,500, 1,800 pounds for a decent standard kitchen that the tenant can appreciate when they're in there, and so that your numbers stack, because you're doing it for a profit. You're not a charity, are you? You're doing it for a profit. So you want to factor that thing in quite heavily. The second thing is that it's quite easy to underestimate the amount of work that is actually required. And believe me, that's quite true, because when you get it and you're into it, then you'll find out, hey shit, I still need to do this. Oh hey shit, I still need to do that. Oh, I still need to do that. I didn't factor that in. Oh hey, the builder started that job, but now it turns out whatever he did, I need to scrap all of that and start over. So just make sure you get a couple of builders, see it before you complete on it, and always have a budget allowed for worst case contingencies. The third thing is that there's a big risk that you won't add any value to the property at all. You might have heard a saying that says, you should buy the worst house on the best street rather than buying the best house there is on the worst street. To give you a good example, if you're buying a plot of land worth £300,000, you've got planning for 10 flats. You know, in that area, you're going to get a GDV of £900,000, 90,000 a flat. So you know GDV is 900, you bought the land for 300, and the build cost is going to cost you 600. So build cost plus land value 900, and value is 900. So what are you doing? Where's the value add? What's going to pay all that work you're doing? Because what if something goes wrong? Where's the contingency going to come from? Why take all that risk if you're just going to get, at the end, all your money stuck in the deal anyway? Then you'd rather just go buy an income generating property and just have the rents, and spend that time maybe doing something else that earns you money. So you want to factor that in. Are you really going to be adding value? Is the location good enough? Is there room to add that value? The fourth thing, quite a big one that you need to be very careful about, is the people that you work with, your builders. The builders will get you on a contract, perhaps indemnified, the directors being indemnified on anything that goes wrong. They will ask you for an upfront payment so they can get started. But what happens if you pay them, say, 30, 50 grand and they run away? You're screwed, aren't you? So you want to look at what works they have done before, speak to those clients, see the finishing. Are you content with it? Have you spoken to the actual clients, or is it just made it up? Are you satisfied with him? Has he done many jobs before? Is he a reputable person? All these things. If you factor it in, you're happy with it, then you move on. Always have a backup in case this guy falls through, runs away with your money. Do you have a team? Maybe you can hire a project manager to manage it. Don't release all the money at once. Release it in phases, right? So I hope you've enjoyed the pros and cons. I've got a couple of tips for you as final words to the video. Never avoid sending in a building surveyor, especially when you're looking to renovate a property. They will look at each and every job there is in the property and give you an estimate of how much it could cost you. They're going to look for those hidden defects that you will not be able to find. And it's worth that extra 200, 500, 800 or even 1,500 pounds that you will pay, because they will find those defects that you never anticipated for, and then when you're in the game, perhaps you have a bridging loan on it and then boom, you're screwed. You don't have more money. And you can't go over the line, otherwise they're going to charge you 5-8% per month on the money you've borrowed. It can backfire quite heavily and not have a good end towards it. So send in a building surveyor, very important. And the last thing is that always have your contingencies on a spreadsheet. Know all your costs in advance and keep some allowance when things go wrong, things that you did not anticipate for. You'd rather save that amount later on, be happy that, hey, I saved 20%, I've got now more profit, and you're all happy, rather than, oh shit, this problem came up and I don't have money for it. Because if you don't have money for it and that thing needs repairing to be able to refinance, and you've got different sorts of lending involved, it's going to burn your fingers. Not to scare you off, as long as you do your due diligence correctly, this is so rewarding because you can really scale up in your industry very fast. So I hope you've enjoyed today's content. If you did, please smash the like button. It really helps me out. Any questions in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next video.